Hello lovely people, welcome to the Geek Cupboard, I'm Penge, and welcome to day 21 of the Geek Cupboard's Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022. So here we are back again with the wonderful Wiggly Tea Advent Calendar. Let's open it up and try to find gigantic tea door number 21, shall we? Whereabouts are you? Gigantic tea door number 21, there you are, you're over on this side. Okay, so hang on a second, let me try and do that and then bring it over here so it's a little bit more under the camera. So the little kind of goal objective thing says switch it off, and I assume it's referring to a mobile phone because there is a picture of a person holding a phone. I mean, that's quite a small phone in relation to the size of their hand. I think that's quite a little phone, but whatever the case, it says switch it off, and I will do that. I will do that a bit later on. That'll be quite nice. Just, switch your phone off and not be interrupted by all the bings and bongs and messages and all that kind of stuff, all the alerts popping up. It'll be quite nice to do that. It's quite, sometimes quite a lovely thing just to sit back and not be interrupted by all that. If you're watching a film or a good TV show or something and you don't want to be interrupted, just switch your phone off and it's all nice and peaceful. However, I'll do that later. And not right now, because I'm using my phone to record this very video that you're watching. So if I switch my phone off right now, Advent Calendar, that's going to make recording the rest of this a little bit tricky. So I'll do that a bit later on. And if you all do want to try this as well, if you all do want to go and switch off your phones to enjoy some peace and quiet, maybe possibly do it after you've watched this video. Because again, it's going to be quite difficult to watch the rest of this video if you're watching it on your phone, if you switch your phone off. So yeah, do that a bit later on perhaps. Maybe watch this video, maybe watch some other Geek Cupboard videos as well. But yeah, do it a bit later on. I'll do that as well, Advent Calendar. So here we go. Let's open this up and let's see what tea we have on the inside. Prise the door open. It's a lovely pink tea bag and it says, "New day, new tea, new me." I like that. So it's a fruit-flavoured herbal tea in a bag. What do we have in store today? Strawberries and cream. Okay, strawberry fields are forever with this beautiful red brew and sweet aroma. Haven't we had something sort of similar to this? Didn't I say it tasted of like the strawberries and cream sweets? Haven't we had something very similar to this already? I'm fairly certain we have. Okay, well, whatever the case is fine. I'll check on that. I'll look at the sort of the list of things that we've already had. But I'm fairly certain we had something very similar to this, if not exactly this. I can't quite recall. But okay, so yes, it's got hibiscus, apple, rosehip, strawberry pieces, blackberry leaves, yogurt crispies. Ooh, yogurt crispies. Okay, so made of semi-skim milk and yogurt. Okay, right, there are many things in there. Also, it contains milk, it says in big letters. Okay, yeah, that's fine. It sounds quite nice. Hopefully it's going to be lovely and strawberry and creamy, and we can all pretend we're at Wimbledon and it should be lovely. But there we go, we know what tea we're going to have. Now we need to go to the kettle. And here we are with our lovely freshly brewed cup of strawberries and cream tea. And I don't know if it comes across that well on the camera, but it is a very, very red cup of tea. I'm not sure if it's going to look too red on the camera itself, but to look at it actually with the naked eye, it's a really sort of bold red colour. It does look very good. I can't really put the mug over here because again, the mug is in the shadow of the phone. It makes it look very dark, but yeah, it's a very red cup of tea. And it does smell of strawberries and cream. Now, I did check what the last one was that we tried that did have a strawberries and cream sort of flavour, and it was Gorgeous Geisha, apparently. The Gorgeous Geisha tea did have a hint of strawberries and cream in it. This smells even stronger of strawberries and cream. It smells very, very good. But again, it smells of those sweets, the little sort of round sort of sweet candy things, which had like a sort of indent in them, and then kind of a white and a red spiral type thing. It smells like those, which does smell very good. So I'm going to have a taste. I'm going to have a taste of this. Hopefully it's going to taste very good as well. Hopefully better than yesterday's slight disappointment. Oh, okay, yeah, that's very fruity. Oh, that's very fruity. That's quite sharp. That's got quite a big sort of fruity hit to it. Okay, that's quite nice. That's quite nice. So yeah, there's an initial sort of quite strong fruity hit to it, I'd say. And then it kind of mellows out a bit. It kind of, sort of drops away and it's not quite as strong. And then it's got quite a nice sort of, strawberry aftertaste, I would say. That's quite nice. I quite like that. Yeah, it's got a nice kind of big fruity sort of hit as you drink that. There's a lovely sort of fruity hit to it, and it is quite sharp, sort of more toward the back of your palate, as it were. But yeah, it's quite sharp, but not overly so. You're not sort of, gagging or anything, thinking, oh my god, this is too sharp. It's, it's quite nice. It's quite a nice strong sort of flavour to it. And then, it mellows out, and then you kind of get a bit of a strawberry sort of aftertaste to it. I don't mind that. That's quite nice. I'm very impressed. I mean, after yesterday's huge disappointment, anything would have been pretty much better, but that is very good. That is very good. And it does taste like strawberries and cream. It tastes like those sweets that we talked about before. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That's good. I'm very impressed. I do like that. So there we go. We've got a lovely cup of tea, which is wonderful. So now let's go over to today's question, which comes from Mist Bell. And Miss Bell says, what's your favourite book series if you have one? And that's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, I do like a lot of different types of books, mostly science fiction and fantasy books. They're kind of the ones I read the most. I mean, just sort of dropping a few names. Terry Pratchett. I love the Terry Pratchett books. The Rimworld books. They were things I read and reread many times over in my youth. Hitchhiker's Guide. They're a wonderful series of books. The Red Dwarf books are very good. The Red Dwarf books based on the series, I think written after the series, but they're really good books in their own right. They kind of take what you see on the TV show, on the sitcom, and they kind of elaborate on it. And some of it's slightly different, and some of it's a lot better. In Red Dwarf, they have a bit where they have a sort of device, I suppose, called Better Than Life. And it's kind of a device. It's a bit like I suppose it's like a drug, I guess. So it's an implant that goes on your head, and then you can just sort of conjure up anything you'd like. And you kind of live in this kind of paradise world. And in the TV show, I think it was all crammed into one episode. So it was all a bit crazy and anarchic. But in the books, there's almost an entire book dedicated to this whole Better Than Life concept. Or certainly a good chunk of it anyway. And it's really good. It's really well written. It's not like the TV show at all, that bit. It's its own sort of little story in its own right. So the Red Dwarf books are very good. I mean, Neil Gaiman. I like Neil Gaiman stuff. The Dragonlance books. So the sort of world of D&D, but the Dragonlance books. I love them. They're some of my favourite books. I have them on the bookshelf over there. Most of the things are on the bookshelf over there. But yeah, I've got these Dragonlance books, and they're very well worn. They're very well thumbed books, the Dragonlance books. I've read them many, many, many times. So, I mean, there's probably more as well. There are many of the books that I like. I do like a nice book. I don't read as much as I used to because, stuff happens, life happens, and family, and I'm doing other things, and there's TV shows to watch, and I'm doing YouTube stuff as well. So I don't have that much time to read, but I do like sitting down, having a nice read. So the question says, what's your favourite book series? So I've gone through sort of books and authors that I quite like. In terms of my favourite book series is written by my favourite author, who is called Robert Rankin. So not Ian Rankin, the crime guy, Robert Rankin, who is the self-proclaimed father of far-fetched fiction, and he writes some wonderful stuff. He writes some very daft stuff. It's very silly, it's very anarchic, it's very chaotic, but it's got some brilliantly creative ideas. And the book series that I think is my favourite of his is the Armageddon trilogy. It's a really good book series. So there's Rex Mundy is the star, and it's set in the future. The world's all gone to pieces, but there is also Elvis, as in that Elvis, actually Elvis Presley, and Barry the Time Sprout, who is a time-travelling Brussels sprout, who appears in a few books of Rob Rankin's, but I think the Armageddon trilogy is where he appears first, I think, chronologically. So he can travel through time. So Barry is a sprout that can travel through time, and he bumps into Elvis Presley, and then he kind of lives in Elvis's head, and then Elvis can travel through time and do stuff. And it's completely ridiculous, and it's really funny. They're all really funny. They've got lots of good, clever wit and sarcasm and humour. The characters are brilliant. They're really good. They're really good books. I'm not going to kind of say what happens. I'm not going to say what happens in them, but they're very good. The Armageddon trilogy is very good, but he's written loads of other good things. There's the Brentford trilogy, which is now in multiple parts. I think, are we on the third Brentford trilogy? I think he's writing the last one of those. So they're all good, but again, they've got this sort of core of characters that are really good. You've got these sort of set characters and set catchphrases and things that happen in the books. And when it does happen, you kind of go, hey, you kind of get that little payoff of, hooray, look, the characters did the thing, which is fun. And then he's done a book called Apocalypso. That's a really good book. I mean, that's about many things, but primarily it's about an alien who is a giant vegetable. That's kind of it. He's a giant vegetable alien, and he's not very happy that people are eating vegetables, so he gets a bit cross. And there is also a book which, standalone, is brilliant. It's got a sequel as well, but on its own, it's really good. And I think I've spoken about this before, possibly either on an Inside the Geek Cupboard video or possibly on a previous Fes-tea-ve countdown video. But the book is called The Hollow Chocolate Bunnies of the Apocalypse, which on its own is a wonderful name for a book. I mean, that's grand. The Hollow Chocolate Bunnies of the Apocalypse is a wonderful name. But the plot is just wonderful. It's about a serial killer. And go, okay, yeah, there's many books about serial killers. In Toy Town. So all the old classic sort of nursery rhyme characters are being killed off in relevant, appropriate ways. So little Jack Horner, who, I don't know, did he eat a pie or something? He basically gets filled with pie. That's how they kill him. And Humpty Dumpty gets boiled to death in his swimming pool. So all the sort of old nursery rhyme characters are all, rich and greedy, and they've done their thing, and they've all got loads of money from their nursery rhymes. And the serial killer goes round and finishes them off. And then Jack, I think it's Jack of Jack and Jill fame, and Eddie Bear, who is a teddy bear, of course, they become the detectives, and they go around and kind of try and figure out the case. But it's really good. It's really well written. It's very funny. There is a sequel called The Toyminator. I don't think there's a third part. To that. But yeah, so there's the Hollow Chocolate Bunnies of the Apocalypse and The Toyminator. But I like his stuff. Robert Rankin, it's very funny. It's you'd have to read. You'd probably start reading it. You're reading some of it thinking, what is going on here? But then as you carry on reading, things will sort of drop into place, and you'll see patterns forming and kind of your characters saying the same things. There'll be running gags, lots of running gags, wonderful running gags. And then, you probably read one and think, I want to read more. He's got loads. He's got lots. I think there's some more series in there. And there are plenty of kind of standalone books too. And he's done some comic-y kind of thing. Not comic, sort of like, is it comic? It's kind of hand-drawn, what they call it. Like a graphic novel type thing. That's what I was thinking of. He's done quite a few of those. He's very approachable. He's on Facebook. You can go and send him a message, and he posts things on Facebook, and you can respond. And I've got quite a few bits and bobs of his that he signed. And I've got big posters of his from one of the books. And I got a big load of his notebooks because I was intrigued into how he sort of went about writing his stuff. So I've got all these notebooks that he had about how he writes his stories, because he's proper old school. He writes all the stuff down by hand in notebooks. He scribbles it all down, and then I assume he then reorganizes it into an order, which then goes off to the person to type it up. It's all sort of handwritten. So I've got some of those as well. And it's quite interesting to see, sort of read the bits. You go, oh, that's from that book. And then you go to the book and you look and go, okay, well, that bit changed a bit. Oh, and then you rework that bit. You go forward in the book and it's, oh, yeah, look, you changed that. So that's quite interesting as well. But yeah, I think he's very good. He's very good. I mean, there are so many talented writers out there. There are many, many talented writers, but I do particularly like his stuff. I think he's very good. So, favourite book series, I would say would be the Armageddon trilogy. It's well worth a read. It's a bit bonkaloids. It's a bit crazy. But yeah, he does call himself the self-proclaimed father of far-fetched fiction. And far-fetched it is, but in a wonderfully silly way. And it's very good. So yeah, I would recommend his stuff. He is very good. Armageddon trilogy is a good point to start. The Brentford trilogy, sort of the very first ones, there's the Anti-Pope, I think is his first book. That might be slightly harder to get into than, say, the Armageddon trilogy. So I think maybe if you do want to, go for the Armageddon trilogy first and then go back through the sort of the back catalogue of things. But there are so many. There are so many wonderful things. And they're all good. Some are better than others, as you'll find with most works. But there you go. So hopefully that answers the question. I mean, there are so many other books as well. There are many things that I end up reading, but yeah, if I had to sort of single out a particular author and a particular series, I would say it would be Robert Rankin's Armageddon trilogy. I think that will answer our question today. So there you go. Thank you, Miss Bell, for answering a wonderful question about lovely books. And I think that's it. I think the question is done. And we've got our tea, and I like the tea. It's a lovely cup of tea. So I think with that done, we can wrap things up for the moment. So for now, thank you very much for joining me on day 21 of the Fes-tea-ve Advent Countdown 2022, and I will see you next time. Charlotte was murdered by Martin. Do we need to arrest Martin? Aaron was murdered by Martin. The mighty defence rectangle has been completed. We've crashed into a ship over there. Hello, pirates. They're just firing bits of explosive junk. It's killing quite a lot of pirates. Connor was strangled by Martin. Somebody stop him. I'd love to stop him.